Vonesha Mitchell, and I work for a company called Communities Unlimited. And we specialize in actually assisting small business owners who are in the startup phase, who are existing owners that are looking to grow or who might need some assistance doing some turnaround things. So if you would, Leslie, the next slide, thank you. So the core of what we do is one-on-one consulting. It's very specialized and individualized to that particular owner or potential owner's needs. We might do the business plan, as chefs mentioned earlier. We help with cash flow monitoring, inventory control systems. We do a lot of very specific things according to whatever your business is. So if it's a truck, your plan is going to be customized to whatever your needs are. If it's a brick and mortar, the plan is going to be customized to whatever your needs are. If you're a caterer or whatever individualized needs that you have. We are also a community organization that does programs called Mem Shop, Alt Shop. You all may have heard of that. We had the pleasure of working with the Hills and Makitas through that program. It's like a community revitalization effort. We've done Broad Street, South Memphis, and currently we're off of South 2nd Avenue. We also do partner programming, which I want to make sure to tell you guys about. We are providing some free training if you need to test the feasibility of your idea. Say you have a business concept and you're ready to get it going, but maybe you're not quite as confident in it as you need to be, and maybe you want to assess some things, see if financially, are you really prepared? Is it going to meet your expectations? Have you thought through all of the foreseeable potholes that you can possibly do? Because you can't plan for everything. It's very important to, plan for the things that you can and have an extra set of eyes, kind of look at some things and help you think about some things. So we have a course through PCCUA. Registration actually ends today, but it is a free course, and I have registration forms in the back if you all are interested. It's 7 weeks, it's online, it's free, you go at your own pace, so it's something that you probably want to consider. We do lending, and I have a handout for that as well to kind of go over some of our loan products. We do some startup loans. They're a little bit smaller just because starting something is a bit more risky, but we're part of a CDFI network that you all will hear about later where we can afford to take a little more risk than a bank can. So you get some information on that. And an interesting last bullet, we went through a merger last year. We actually do some water, wastewater work. So if you're interested in that, you can definitely go to our website. All right, so kitchen incubators. I have a lot of clients that come to me and maybe they're doing something in the home or they're ready to kind of rev up their operation, but they are not ready for the overhead of their own restaurant. So a kitchen incubator is definitely an option here. In Memphis, we have 3. There are a few other kitchen options that you may come across, especially if you have some relationships in the culinary industry, you know some restaurateurs, but these 3 are basically open if you meet a certain set of criteria, which I'll share with you all. But the Cannery at Bring It Food Hub, that's one that's available to you. Delta Cuisine is actually in West Memphis, Arkansas, but it is a very large facility, relatively new, and their fee scale is sliding. So if you're looking for maybe the most bang for your buck, then you might consider that option. And then First Congregational Church also has that option. Okay, so this slide right here kind of gives you a little bit of information on some of the stuff that's required at those local incubators and some individual research options. So I mentioned to you all that if you have a connection with someone who is a restaurateur, they have a commercial kitchen, maybe they have hours that afford them some time where they're not in that kitchen, that's a relationship that you can establish to potentially utilize their kitchen for a fee. I know many restaurateurs that do that. I know many people are also very possessive of their kitchen, so they are not going to do that. So it just kind of depends on your individual relationship. They don't publicize it, but it is an option. I know several people doing that. Churches and community centers. I know a lot of times chefs, caterers will use that option. So that is one, but I would just say be cognizant or aware of things like have they been inspected? Has that facility been inspected by the health department? You know, what types of issues might you run into using their facility? Also with something like a church, technically they're not supposed to have any for-profit endeavor, so you might just want to make sure that they have an arrangement for that as well. Then there's something called the domestic kitchen permit. Okay, now that is something that you can get through TVA. So there's a Tennessee.gov/agriculture or Tennessee. You all see the website up there that you can go to, and you can get a certification or a permit to have a home kitchen. Now, a lot of the things that Ms. Woods touched on earlier are some of the things that you'll have to make sure you're enforcing and kind of taking into account in your own home kitchen, but it is an option, and also I think there's a labeling requirement. If it is prepared in your home kitchen, you are supposed to disclose that to the public, but it is an option. So that's a telephone number that you all can call, and they'll give you the information there. Now, in a lot of these kitchen incubators, they are going to require you to have some documentation just to participate and to be a part of the incubator. So you might need a sales tax permit, and this is if your product sales are greater than $400 a month. That's something that you need to be thinking about. I know we had, I think someone mentioned taxes earlier. You do not want the tax man to come looking for you, okay? You go looking for them and find out what you need to do to be in compliance. And then a Memphis business permit, a health department permit. Ms. Woods mentioned Serve Safe, that certification, and I think Chef Buchanan did as well. A better process certification, this is if you're doing canning or something like that. And then a TDA, a Tennessee Department of Agriculture permit. So this also kind of goes in line with that domestic kitchen, and then handling certain types of food. And in your home kitchen, an important note, there's only certain things that you can do there. So like jams, jellies, candies, and certain types of baked goods. If it's any of those things that you're going to be required to monitor the temperature, the hot and cold, then you're not going to be permitted to prepare those and sell those from your home. So those are some things that you should think about, especially when considering the potential of using an incubator. Now, the money. Okay, so this is really my wheelhouse, or the area that I focus on a day-to-day basis. And I know a lot of people who are starting a business, period, go out and they want to know where can they get free money, right? Where can we get grants or money that we don't have to pay back? Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that is somewhat of a myth. So what I did was I'm giving you some information here from the SBA. This is a blog posting, and the person who posted that is actually letting readers know, well, if you're looking for free money, you come to the government, you come to the SBA, which is the right place, because they can let you know there basically is not any. Okay? So I know that does not sound like good news, but you all need to be aware of this. Now, if you are doing something that is very technologically advanced, you know, maybe you have something very innovative that you're working on, maybe you've even secured a patent for something, or you have something that's very, very specialized or specific to some kind of health advancement. There are opportunities. So I don't want to say never, not in any case, but they're very limited. There's a website called www.grants.gov that you can go to, and you can kind of do some research, you know, if you're adamant that there's a possibility that that money might be out there for you. This is also another website that you can go to, Access Financing, and you can kind of look through some opportunities there. Now, the government's grants are funded by tax dollars, right? So there's a lot of hoops and things that have to be gone through in order to allot that money. There are private agencies, private foundations that do award grants, and you can do some general searches for those. I actually did some yesterday. I did not see very many that would even touch for-profit businesses. So that's because if I give money, I want to be able to have some benefit, right? Now, I might just feel very passionate about what you're doing, but it would encourage me if I got some kind of tax benefit, right? So I could write that off, which is why nonprofits a lot of times are where the funds are going to go. However, if you do have one of those unique ideas, then you can still kind of do some research. At the bottom of this slide, I have a little note and an email address for something called the ICE Forgivable Facade Loan. Now, we have an agency in Memphis called EDGE, and This particular opportunity, it has a window of time available and a limited amount of money, but you have an opportunity if you own a building or even if you're a leaseholder and you're in one of these target areas, you can get some money to do some like renovations to your facility. And I have an article that'll be, it might have been passed out. Oh good, y'all have it. So you have an article on Edge that kind of shares some information about some businesses that were awarded this forgivable loan, which is essentially a grant. It's free money. There are terms and conditions that could potentially make the money you have to pay back if you don't abide by them, but those cases are rare. So, you know, in order to even get approved, they're pretty much going to make sure that you're a good fit for this money. So that is an option. That's why I was saying, you know, definitely do some research because there are potential opportunities out there. Now, the next piece that I want to talk about is money that you have to pay to use, right? So when I say money you have to pay to use, I'm talking about loans, potentially an investment if the person is looking for a return on that investment. So there are some things that you all need to consider. Many of you have, but if not, and you're gonna need to seek additional funding in order to fund your business or even to grow your business, these are some very important things for you to consider. So we have the 7 C's of credit. Anybody ever heard of those?
5 C's.
Okay, yes, there are many variations. We've kind of added some feel-goods at the bottom because if you're doing all the things at the top, then you're going to kind of fall in line with the 7. But all 7 of these are what are going to be considered by a potential lender. So let's go to, oh, thank you, she's good. So credit history. Now, inquiries, delinquencies, things like that. Inquiries, sometimes people feel like, you know, not necessarily a bad thing, and that is true, but if I know you came in and you want to apply for money for stocking, right? You want to get some inventory in your business, but I see that you have a GMC inquiry, you have a Chevy, you have a Honda. What might you really be trying to get money for?
A car.
Right, so things like that are really kind of how inquiries are looked at. And of course, we're familiar with many of these, right? Delinquencies, that kind of speaks to how you're paying money back, you know, are you paying on time? Your bankruptcies, this is something, unfortunately, that a lot of times is going to kind of keep you out of the pool for loans. Tax liens, child support, student loan default. Hopefully y'all don't have a lot of LACOs, student loan debt. Large debt balances and judgments. Now there are some things, some resources that you can use to kind of mitigate some of these issues or to combat these things. And these are the things I really want you guys to pay attention to. So how many of you all know you can pull a free credit report 3 times a year? Good, a few of us. Well, if you don't, then you need to record this website here because you can get one from each credit bureau per calendar year. And you can kind of monitor some things, okay? In addition to that, you can do your own credit repair. So there's an agency called ClearPoint Credit Counseling, and you can call this, you can identify Communities Unlimited as a referral source. But you should never ever pay for credit repair. You know how you hear companies say, you know, you can give us $1,000 and we'll put you on a payment plan, and sometimes that can reflect negatively to potential creditors because they're like, well, why couldn't you do this yourself, right? So you have to have someone kind of come in, bundle all this for you, help you pay this back, which can reflect poorly on you in the future. When a lot of times you pull that credit report, there's phone numbers on there that you can call, you can kind of negotiate. Some money is better than no money, right? So if you call and you're like, you know, I have X amount of dollars that I can give to settle this, do you think that that would be looked at more favorably than just letting it go?
Yes.
Absolutely. So I would say take those kind of steps. Then the next one is collateral. And collateral is interesting because it kind of speaks to your skin in the game, right? What are you willing to put at risk? Do you have any real estate vehicles or equipment that you could kind of turn into money, right? Liquid property, something that you could sell, turn into money. Lenders are looking for multiple sources of repayment. So not only do they want to know that you're generating income in order to pay back money, but say something happens, particularly if you're a startup, you don't show any, you know, historical financial information. What do you have that's valuable that would ensure us we get our money back? And then thinking about how much does something actually value for as collateral? You may think that you have a very expensive asset, right? But the bank may value it not like you do, okay? So they might look at it and say, well, we will collateralize it at 50%. So you have to just be aware of those things and think about them as you prepare and kind of look at your position for lending. Capital. Cash is king, right? Now, all lenders want to know you have some skin in the game. A lot of times people come in and they're like, I need this loan. And so it's like, okay, well, what are you willing to put up? Well, nothing. You know, I have a great idea and I'm going to work really hard and it's going to be good, right? They're like, no, you know, what are you willing to put up? What skin do you have in the game? So a lot of times the lender is going to ask for, I say maybe 20 to 30% of whatever it is you're requesting, right? So if you're asking for $100,000, we're looking at $20,000, $30,000. So these are things, again, that you need to prepare yourself if you're thinking a loan is an option for you. So some of the things you could do are build your savings, right? That delayed gratification. So not getting whatever that urgent item is for you to have right now so that you can have what you really want later. An IDA program. And an IDA program is simply a matching program. So you put in a certain amount of money and an organization decides to match that amount of money. Now it's usually something that you have to qualify for based on income, but the website is up there so that you can see if that is an option for you. And then startups, huge, huge note. Do not stockpile inventory or prepay a lot of rent without a business plan. So you're like, oh, I got a great idea. I'm buying all my equipment. I'm getting all my pants. I got chairs, I got tables, I got linen. I got everything I need, and I don't have a plan, right? I don't have a business. I don't know what my next steps are, but I got all this stuff. So even if you went to the bank and you told them that they had all this stuff, this is not going to translate into like leverage for you. Okay, so don't do that. Don't say, oh, I found the perfect space. Somebody might get it. Okay, so I need to go in now and I need to pay up this rent to make sure that I have secured this space. That's not wise without a plan. Okay? Then cash flow. Thank you. So cash flow, can you pay bills on time? Right? Woo. Is the business able to support the owners? Profitability versus cash flow. You might think, yeah, our business is making a lot of money, but maybe you're servicing a lot of debt, which does not really equate to your cash flow. So maybe you took out this huge loan in the beginning and you're making a lot of money, but every month your loan payment is like $2,000 a month. So you made a lot of money that month, but you got to service this debt. Or you're pulling all of the money out and it's going into your nice new Mercedes-Benz. You're upgrading your residence, your nice attire to show everyone how successful you are. So those are things you need to consider. And having an advisory team, which the chef mentioned earlier, is very important. CPA, people who are experts in their field. Because it's not expected that you be an expert at everything, right? That's not realistic. So you need to pull together a team of people who are experts. Capacity. Now, have you ever done this work before? So you might be an excellent cook, but have you ever worked in a restaurant? Have you ever catered? Have you ever actually had an experience, tangible experience, working in the field that you're saying you want to go into right now that's very valuable? Have you ever managed a business? You might be an excellent cook, but have you ever managed a business? Have you ever owned a business before? Because a totally different set of issues and responsibilities comes along with owning the business than it does with managing the business. What are your strengths and weaknesses? And sitting in segments or sessions like these, series like these, are very important. It kind of shows that you're willing to do the work to get the tools that you need. So you can kind of commend yourself for doing that. The Restaurant Association, another good place to get some tools and information that you need to be successful. Trade shows, schools, right? Lacole, volunteering. You might know someone who has a catering company or who has a restaurant, and they might kind of let you go along to learn the tricks of the trade. Then we have commitment. So these are some of those new C's, but we want to know that you're invested. You're willing to invest your time, your resources. You want to do the work of assembling a team. All of those things are essential to showing forth that you have the C's that are necessary to make it work. And then that last one is character. Now, character again feeds into all the others. Are you paying bills on time? So these are personal things that you can be doing now that will kind of show forth in your business to express to a potential lender, investor, partner, anyone, even a client, right? That you are the person that they want to do business with. Do you face up to problems? Can people communicate with you? Does your phone number work? Do you answer emails? Okay, that might seem like, but y'all know, you call people and you're like, this number worked 2 weeks ago, right? And it doesn't work anymore. It's very annoying. Okay, and then the last slide, you have options. So this is kind of a recap on all those 7 C's, but also think about these unethical things, right? If you need money, I saw a segment recently, it's called Spent, the movie. I don't know if you all have seen it, but it's something that you should watch. There's one piece about a small business owner there, and we know when you have a dream and you want to feed it, you want to make it work, you're going to pull a lot of times from your personal resources. And so if your needs are not met, sometimes people get desperate. They go to payday lenders. They go to title loan places. These are predatory places that you want to avoid. If you're ever in this situation, consider the CDFI, which Tracy's going to tell you about. There's a member there called Hope Credit Union. They have some complimentary products to things like those payday loans and stuff like that, but you definitely want to avoid those types of things. The grants, we know they're rare, industry specific, try Edge. And then you have your non-traditional lending sources, the CDFI, that's the website there. We're also a member, and this is my contact information. I'm sorry, I know there was a lot in a little bit of time, but again, if you all are interested in the free course or any of our loan products, you can see me after, okay? Thank you all.